Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJNTV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJNTV Insiders.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the DJ Spotlight here on Disc Jockey News TV. This next guest has worked with the likes of Noisia, Spor, the Upbeats, Castle Vania, and Must Die. He is one-third of the Evol Intent trio, known as Gigantor. He started his production career in analog and has been absolutely smashing it over the years in the realms of drum and bass, all the way over to the 4/4s of house music. On today's show, we chat about the pros and cons in working with a trio, especially when everyone's living in different cities. We also talk about talented people in the industry and how they've really benefited from diving into different genres of music. He also shares with us the one thing he wishes he could snap his fingers and change within this scene. Gigantor, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh yeah, glad to be here.
Yes. So let's hear your story, the early beginnings. How did you get into this music and how did it bring you to where you are today?
Well, I first started off in a bunch of rock bands, punk bands, that kind of thing back in the day. And all the while I was always a big fan of electronic music and I think, you know, industrial days kind of thing. So kept digging and learning about more stuff on the computer. And then, you know, as time went on, you know, there's a lot more software and stuff like that and made it easier to work and get things done. So, yeah, just like fell into drum and bass as well and electronic music at the same time. And then when I was in college, I met Nick and we started making tunes and then through the internet met AJ as well. And then after a while, we all just started getting together, making tunes and doing our thing.
Yeah. So speaking of Evol Intent for the three of you, I'm curious about how that dynamic worked as a team. What are the pros and cons of working with that many people?
Well, I'll say this. We all live in different cities now, so that's kind of a con. So it's like I was joking about it because we had a tune that UKF posted up Brainstorm, one of these tunes we did last year, and it was really funny because we realized like, oh my god, the only press shot we have was like from years ago for so that's actually one of the more frustrating parts. Otherwise, we all just send sessions back and forth, or we'll do even things that are even more simple than that because I tend to get really crazy in the stems. Sometimes I'll just send like very basic stems and we all work that way, or you know, they'll send like, yeah, here's a layer for this, add this to the session and, you know, move forward. All kinds of, you know, different stuff. Sometimes, you know, I guess another really cool thing is in the modern era, it's easier to pop out really high quality stems. So it makes it way easier to collaborate than it's ever been before. And yeah, so, you know, we'll send stuff and do the internet thing. But yeah, Nick's in Austin, AJ's back in Atlanta, and I'm here in LA. So just kind of how we all function.
They'll have to do like your next press, the way they do it with movies, just like insert everybody together.
Yeah, slice us all in, yeah.
Yeah. So what some people might not know about Ashley, Nick, and yourself is that you all have different things going on with music as well. What kind of impact do you think that has on someone's career to be able to work with people in a team, but also have these other passion projects that you're working on?
It's pretty cool because you have another outlet, you know, at the end of the day, like if you want to do something, I mean, because our other outlets are pretty different. I would say, you know, like I do a lot of house stuff on my own and so does AJ. And it's often really funny because I like to mention like some of our heaviest, like darkest tunes were started by the guy who's like really known for, you know, tech house and disco house, which is, you know, but like, I mean, Anarchy was like one of the latest ones we did that's really heavy and AJ started that. So it's like, yeah, it's, I guess, you know, the yin and the yang at the same time. And then it also just lets me get into a different frame of mind. I've also been like, execute, or what do you call it, engineering, not executing, engineering some stuff for bands and things like that as well when I can. And it's just really fun to get into a different frame of vibe. It also lets you bring something new back to the table when you're working on the group projects, and like the drum and bass, and be like, oh yeah, I did this in this session over here, so what if I try taking this technique and wrapping it into something that would be palatable to a drum and bass audience? Pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. I love that that you can find inspiration going from one genre to the other.
Yeah, absolutely. And you should. I mean, I feel like, back in the day, a lot of us, I mean, maybe when we were younger, we're just like, oh, mate, it's drum and bass or die, that kind of thing. And yeah, no, it's the same. Like, there was a while, but then you realize, you step back and you're like, wait a second, I like all these other bands, and there's or these other genres. I'm like, okay, I like Daft Punk. I'm going to, admit that, like that sort of thing. So it was just, you learn after a while, you're like, hey, we can't be too serious about this. There's a whole world of music out there, and if you cut yourself off from it, you're doing a massive disservice. Okay. So it's really good to just embrace everything and learn everything you can.
And I feel like some of the best artists are they are multi-genre. They've gone from drum and bass over to trap or house and electro, and they bring new elements to those genres because of the influence.
Totally.
So, speaking of music, is there a favorite tune that you've worked on over the years?
Okay, this is gonna sound weird, but I can't really talk about it yet because my favorite tune at the moment is one that we're working on right now, and this awesome vocalist who I met through another friend who went to Icon here just crushed it on this one tune. This is not a drum and bass song. This is an Evol Intent tune. Because we've over the years, we've always worked on stuff that's a bunch of different genres or more down tempo stuff. So this is one of those more different tunes that kind of goes in a different tangent. And I think this tune was started somewhere like 8 years ago or something. So we kind of just been sitting there, and we worked with this guy who totally came in and just crushed it on the vocals. And it's really cool to hear that this tune has finally taken shape into something. And so yeah, that's kind of my favorite at the moment. Otherwise, as far as D&B tunes go, my favorite one that's out, I might say, it's a hard call, because I'm really proud of the most recent tunes we put out. Brainstorm, Euphoria, I was really stoked on. Blockchain Corruption, Anarchy, pretty much the most recent stuff I've been really hype on. And so I'm really excited. Once we get more of this new stuff done and get it out there, I'm going to be stoked to see how people, react to it and all that.
I can't wait to hear it. I'm stoked. So, all right, kind of switching it up a little bit. If there was one thing that, you could just snap your fingers and we could change the scene, what do you think that thing would be, and why?
Well, and I'm hoping this is actually happening, but we watched in recent years the rise of EDM culture in a lot of ways, and at the same time, when bags of money start appearing, then people start doing more and more cringy type shit to get the bag. So I'd really like to see less emphasis on marketing and more emphasis on the music again. And I feel like there's always a pendulum effect to these things, to where not relating to the band, but I mean actually swinging back and forth. I mean, I feel like things will shift back the other way at some point, to where people will be like, you know what, hey, so this one thing is all marketing and the substance here is kind of a bit shit. So I'm going to be more into this more real, authentic feeling music. So
yes. Oh, I love that you said that.
And I feel like, we kind of get that, that might also come back to the whole drum and bass attitude, from back in the day and all that.
Bring back the vinyl.
Well, I don't know if I'm not going to go that far, but.
What, you don't like hauling records around everywhere?
Oh, I know. And, carrying up 2 flights of stairs. It's better than, I'll say this, it's better than, because I joked about this when I first started DJing, carrying, a bass amp up 2 flights of stairs to play a show in front of people who don't give a shit. And then, I'm like, wait a second, I can haul a crate of records and headphones and needles and then go play and they'll pay me like, you know, $300 on a plane ticket. Like, okay. Like, and then that was, you know, it all just kind of compounded after that. And I think it's insane now that we can show up with just like headphones, you know, like a couple memory sticks, and you're off. Like, that's all it takes to DJ. It's amazing.
It's pretty phenomenal. I definitely appreciate that. When people are like, oh, you're not a real DJ. That's not vinyl. I'm like, haha, joke's on you. Do you know how expensive and heavy that shit is?
Right. And I mean, and then literally anyone who says that, it shows how much of an amateur they are. Like, so anybody who says you're not a real DJ for not using vinyl is a fucking amateur, because you know that you can play unreleased tunes, you can do all these things that you can't do. So if I showed up for a gig and someone called me an amateur for showing up with a memory stick, I'd probably laugh in their face. I'd be like, did you just show up here yesterday? Even funnier, I've seen a DMC champion. I'm not going to name names here. He probably wouldn't mind, but I saw him literally chew a kid out backstage for this argument, because he said, he's like, look, man, I've proved myself. I don't have to spin vinyl anymore. And I'm just like sitting over here in the corner, just like, you do you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Aww. That's awesome.
Yeah,
so
buddy.
To end off this interview, are there any last thoughts, upcoming projects, things you really want us to know about that's coming out with you?
Yes, we do have new Evil Intent stuff coming. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to release all of it or in what ways, but there's a lot of stuff planned. We are stacking a lot of music at the moment. Also, my solo stuff as Gigantor, have a remix for Work It, Mefuse, on his Mefuse remixed LP. And yeah, also got a few other things. I guess I can talk about it now, but I did a collab with Combo Christ on the new record. So like, even like going completely different directions. So I've done a couple things over there, which I can't wait to see the reaction on some of that. And yeah, so just what else? It's probably something I'm forgetting. A lot going on.
Yeah.
I've got my side hustle, Sonic Armory, too. So there's that as well. So if you want samples or, you know, synth patches, we got you.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that. Well, for the rest of y'all that have tuned into this interview today, make sure you let us know in the comments below if there was anything that really stood out to you. Do you feel inspired after this interview? Are you maybe a DJ that has been judging other DJs for not playing vinyl? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, make sure you don't let no one kill your vibe.